Good afternoon, I'm Colette Linden.
And I'm Danielle Dupuis. Welcome to the Special Report PM edition.
Welcome. So we have the Premier coming up shortly. When he does appear, then we will disappear. There is our 2-minute Tommy Timmy. We are going to hear from the Premier in 1 minute. But before we do, why don't we throw over to weather before the Doug Ford comes out and updates us.
Perfect. So for our weather today, we know that it is still raining and it will continue to rain into the evening. And Friday, we're looking to be at hopefully above 17. It's going to be looking nice, but then a rain again on Saturday. Sorry, everyone. So as you can see the images right there, and expected, crazy to think that in the past few days, we are expected to have 35 to 70 millimeters of rain.
That's
so
great.
Keep that in your forecast. No shorts, no nothing. It's umbrellas for the next little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, while we wait, I probably have another maybe 45 seconds, 30 seconds. Chris, you have a video. Actually, no. He's coming out now. We are going to throw to the Premier, and we will be right back after the Premier.
Well, good afternoon. This morning, we woke up to the news about the tragic crash of a Canadian Armed Forces helicopter off the coast of Greece. My thoughts and prayers are with the families and loved ones of those brave servicemen and women. God bless them all. I want to start by addressing something head on. I know how much people want to get back to work, how much we all want to get back to normal. I hear it, I see it, and I feel it. I know how hard this period has been. I feel your grief for the lives you have lost. I feel your frustration in the face of this enemy. I feel your anxiety about what the future will bring. But I want you to know that despite everything, despite the hardships we have endured, despite the uncertainty ahead of us, despite it all, we have many reasons to be optimistic right now. We have taken a measured approach. We, as a province, 14.5 million people, have taken this fight seriously. We have thrown everything we have at this virus. And because of that, because of you, we have made tremendous progress. Today, we're on the path to reopening the economy because that curve is flattening. That surge in our hospitals, we avoided it. And that trend is going down. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. And I am laser focused right now on opening things up as quickly as we can in a safe and measured way. We will open things up in phases as it becomes safe to do so, based on health and science. And on Monday, we laid out our roadmap. We have a process. We have a clear criteria and targets for reopening. And as the trends keep going in the right direction, as we get closer to the targets we need to hit, as we get closer and closer to opening up, today, we are giving businesses and workplaces the best guidance available on how to open up safely. Today, we're telling our businesses how to be ready for when we get that green light. We've been working closely with Ontario's health and safety associations. Together, we have developed over 65 sector-specific guidelines for Ontario workplaces. They include guidelines for workers in healthcare, retail, the automotive sector, manufacturing, food processing, tourism and hospitality, restaurant and food service, our agricultural sector, office workers, transit, transportation, and utilities. We have guidelines for the construction sector to promote better sanitation and physical distancing on job sites. And in the coming weeks, we will continue to provide updated advice to protect even more sectors of our economy. These guidelines will help Ontario businesses adapt to the new reality we face and keep workers and customers safe. All of these guidelines, taken together with our framework, provide a strong foundation to help us get the province working again. My friends, this pandemic has turned our lives upside down. It has put our will and our resolve to the test. But we are winning this fight, and we will win this fight. And Ontario will come out of this stronger than ever before. Thank you, and God bless the people of Ontario. Now I'll turn it over to Minister McNaughton.
Good afternoon, everyone. The vast majority of essential businesses in this province are doing an amazing job under very, very trying circumstances. There are hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of unsung heroes who continue to go to work each day to get their jobs done so that the rest of us are safe. Employers are doing a good job, but we have to do better, and this is important now, and will be just as important as our economy begins to reopen. In that spirit, today I'm announcing an additional 58 people will be joining our provincial labour inspectors. They'll be starting this week. Some of the new inspectors will focus on communicating COVID-19 safety guidelines like the ones the Premier just spoke about to essential workplaces. Others will enforce emergency measures. This includes physical distancing on job sites and the closure of non-essential businesses. If you're not doing a good job of promoting distancing, the inspectors will help you correct that. Eventually, if you're not doing a good enough job, you'll get fined. Our inspectors have the power to issue $750 fines in accordance with the province's emergency measures. We're giving you a lot of good information here today. The Premier just mentioned a few practical tips. Our guidelines have many more, like adding markings and barriers to manage traffic flow, like managing traffic on work sites, and restricting the number of people on site at any one time. There are now more than 60 guidelines. You can find them, along with the helpful work posters on a new job on the Ontario government website, ontario.ca/coronavirus. We are doing everything in our power to ensure workers are safe because we want to protect people and because safety is an economic issue. We need to do this right to ensure our reopening, when it comes, works for everyone. Thank you.
We'll go to questions. First question.
First question comes from Haley Cooper from News Talk 1010. Please go ahead.
Hi, Premier.
Hi, Haley.
Is it time for your government perhaps to mandate auto insurance companies to significantly reduce rates? Because listener after listener of ours are telling us that their companies aren't offering any reductions, and in the few cases that are.
Welcome back. We are going to throw back over to Chris so that he can finish what he was going to start, and he has a video to highlight and show. What do you got, Chris?
Thank you very much. Yes, we're about to see a video from Paris Marx. Part one of my interview with him on automobiles was on Tuesday, and tonight on the Chris Oldcorn Show at 7 p.m., we discussed the future of public transit. Here we go. You're a big proponent of mass public transit. Can you explain to our audience why?
Yeah, certainly. I think transit provides a lot of benefits. One of the biggest ones is that it allows us to move a lot of people in a really efficient way. So instead of everyone being in their individual car or truck, and obviously what we see right now is that there's not actually a whole lot of carpooling that goes on. It's often, one person per vehicle, which takes up a lot of space. So if we move people into transit, then that relieves kind of a lot of the congestion and traffic that happens on our streets and allows us to move people much more efficiently. So that's one of the biggest reasons that I'm interested in it. It allows us to live closer together, and that provides a lot of social benefits. If we can kind of see each other and talk to people much more easily, it provides health benefits because it's a lot easier for people to just sort of have physical activity in their day-to-day lives. Walking, say, from the bus to the store or work, or from home to the bus. You know, all these different small trips kind of add up in the aggregate. And there's also obviously a massive environmental benefit, where if we switch from all relying on personal automobiles to relying on transit services, that's a much more efficient way for us to get around, and it helps us to deal with one of the biggest issues that we have right now in addressing climate change, which is transportation emissions, which often come from cars and things like that.
And that was Paris Marx. He is finishing his Master's in Geography at McGill University. You can see the full interview tonight at 7 p.m. here online on TV. As well, if you missed it, yesterday I interviewed Matthew Scott. That's also available on YouTube and Facebook. Back to the desk.
Thanks, Chris. We will be right back after this commercial break. Welcome back. We have quite a few items to get through today. First of all, the fire ban is still on. Fire services sent us a press release to let us know, yes, June, we are still in a fire ban. And again, just to remind you, that is just to not tie up their resources right now. It's nothing to do with, anything else right now, but just not to tie up the resources while there's so many people at home. But so we wanted to start with an unfortunate story about a helicopter crash that happened in the Mediterranean. They have released the name of the first victim. There was 6 people in total, but that's Abigail Calbrow. She is from Nova Scotia, and her father Shane had posted a message on Facebook today saying that his daughter had died when the Cyclone helicopter went down in the sea this morning. She was very much involved in her church in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, and who actually played the bagpipes at the Remembrance Day service that they held last fall. They haven't confirmed any more deaths at this time, but there are still 5 missing. So again, the Cyclone helicopter, it carries a crew of 4, and it could also carry a lot of passengers on top of that. But right now we know that there were 6 on board. The one has come up.
Very unfortunate to hear that. Very
yeah, so they were doing an exercise, so it was sad news that we have to report. But what about Ranger Lake Road? Why don't we update everybody on Ranger Lake Road?
Well, as we know, and if you look outside, it's raining and it hasn't stopped, and because of that, now Ranger Lake Road has now been washed out. So from the areas of Searchmont and Highway 532 to Highway 129, that's going to be restricted and closed, and then Highway 556, also known as Ranger Lake. So keep a lookout if you are traveling that way. Be careful. Don't think that you can go through it, because let's be honest, you will get your car stuck, and the last thing fire services need is to fish you out of a...
They're not going to be happy with that.
No, not at all.
Oh,
not
actually, I'm sorry. I meant to tell you, there's a huge penalty with that fire ban.
There's
like $50,000 they can ticket you for having a fire right
and
now.
they've charged 21 individuals so far.
Hey,
so I would not want to be on the back end of that.
No, that's a lot of money. Sorry to cut you off, but that was important for me to share.
Well, no, it is big money, and if people aren't taking those measures, like, is that really what it's worth, guys? You light a fire and I don't know. I just don't understand it, to be honest.
A lot of money.
It is.
To keep warm. So the Ottawa mayor has ordered, and I'm sure Chris is going to go into this more, so I won't get into detail, but he's ended the ban of having people go up to the windows and saying hello to their loved ones in the nursing home. And I know you do visit your grandmother and you through the glass, but they are actually, because it's so nice outside, people are going outside to meet them, and then they're having some interaction, so their social distancing practices are not being met. So the Ottawa mayor has done that, said no more, sorry guys, and I would guess it might come here. You never know, so be prepared for that.
Some of them actually have restricted hours when you can actually go visit to minimize how many people are just coming and going. So I'm not going to be surprised if they start doing that.
Yeah, and actually I do know that Chris received some COVID-19 updates that just came hot off the press. So I think we'll throw to Chris just to update everybody on that for that latest news.
Yes, thank you very much. Ontario has reported the numbers for today, and 86 people died in the last 24 hours. Which totally is way, way higher than the day before, when we were only at 57, and 57 was a high. So we now saw the most deaths we have in any 24-hour period right now with COVID-19, and that takes us over 1,000 deaths as well, which is obviously a key number. However, our new cases are continuing to decline, and over the last 6 days, only one of those days have we had more than 500 new cases. So we're actually, as far as cases go, seeing a reduction. And the reason why you're seeing a spike in deaths is because it takes a while from the time the person gets tested positive for COVID-19 for them to actually pass away. So what you're seeing now is the deaths that you're seeing are people who have tested positive, 2 or 3 weeks ago. And so the reason why you're seeing numbers go down and deaths go up is because we're containing the virus with our social distancing and staying at home. However, the number of cases in the hospital has stayed roughly the same, as well as how many cases are in the ICU and on ventilators. As a matter of fact, the ICU cases have actually gone down over the last 3-4 days substantially to where they were, which is good, because when you're in the ICU, that's when you're at the sickest. And right now, that's only about 233 people across the entire province who are in the ICU, and less than 200 of them are actually using ventilators, which is actually a positive number if you look at it in sort of the whole scheme of the entire COVID-19 pandemic. So.
All right, thanks, Chris. And I know that Nunavut has seen its first COVID-19 case as well.
Today.
So, yeah, that's now we want to move to a little bit of pet talk. You have some pictures you wanted to share.
I do. Today, or last night, I was actually kind of sent this website to kind of look at what some pet parents are doing in case of being bored right now. And they've kind of had some creativity to what they're doing with their cats. So have a look at these few images. So there's our first one. So people are creating these combat boxes, and it's just all cardboard boxes, but they're getting very, they're getting very creative with it. And they do say that if you put a square down on the ground for your cat or any type of box, a cat will go into it. Oh, that one's a cute one.
Look
he's how
popping right out, ready to go.
The creativity on that, I could never do something like that.
You have nothing to do with that.
Well, interesting enough, they are saying that all this time you are spending with your pets, because there's a lot more people at home, whether it just be the kids if you're working, but if, their adults are home and you're with the pets all the time, that pets will suffer and have that anxiety and separation anxiety. And they're asking them to put your pet aside for 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day, leave them alone, and start gradually getting them used to, because as we know, the Premier is going to start reopening up non-essential services and other businesses. So, and you have another little video you want to share.
Yes, there's one teacher who took it upon herself. She's a music teacher, to create this little video for her students, and it's perfect for what's going on right now.
Absolutely.
So
it's hilarious.
Have a look at that video.
Hey, so as some of you guys might know, I'm a music teacher, and I found that one of the best ways that I can process the whole transition to online learning and teaching is to write a song. So I wrote a song. I'd like to share that with you guys now. Here we go.
What do you say to that?
I mean, it's true. It speaks volumes. I bet you everyone else right now just.
So, do you know what grade she teaches? Just
No,
out of curiosity,
I don't.
she's had to sing that song in her classroom as well. You know what I mean? The kids may be driving her crazy. I wrote a song for you kids.
Can you wanna hear it?
Yeah. That's funny. So we started the hashtag In This Together SSM. We are so thankful for all the organizations and other community members and businesses who have included that. So you've got a list there.
I do have a list right here. So we've had Mayor Provenzano use the hashtag. Thank you very much. We've had PUC, Northside Toyota, the YMCA, the Sault Ste. Marie Chamber of Commerce, Habitat for Humanity, and there's a few other ones. And
that's great.
You know what? It's great to see it, and it's super easy for us just to go search it In This Together SSM. So keep those up, guys.
Keep it up.
It's awesome.
And thanks again to Casey Security for your sponsorship of the show. We are going to break for a commercial and be right back with Chris and the Roundtable.
A message from the Government of Canada.
In your home, lighting is just as important as style.
With PowerView Motorization from Hunter Douglas, you can schedule your shades to light up the room. Create privacy, or both, automatically. No hands required.
So your shades will always be in the right place at the right time in style. And it's only from Hunter Douglas.
At Maitland Ford Lincoln, we see our trucks everywhere. We see them on Queen Street, Lake Street, North Street, Bay Street, 2nd line, 3rd line, 4th line, Pine Street, Great Northern Peoples Road, Wellington, Cora Road, Bruce Street, Carmen's Way, Northern Ave, Trunk Road. Folks come from all over Algoma District and beyond to buy their truck at Maitland Ford Lincoln. Amazing prices, outstanding service. King Street, Shannon Road, Goulet Bay, Black Road, Government Road, and even on Pine Shores. Yep, our trucks are everywhere. Get yours at Maitland Ford Lincoln, built for Northern life, on Great Northern Road, just north of the hospital.
Welcome back. I hear we have a story from Al, who works at Algoma U.
Al is a physical plant employee, and for a long time now, oh, there he is right there. So what has happened is he's teamed up with a doctor, and what they went around and did at the university is collected items across the art and biology class, and from there they've actually donated it to the Great Lakes Forestry Center. They'll be receiving supplies to help create hand sanitizers, and it'll be distributed to frontline workers across Sault Ste. Marie and Algoma region. So great job, Al. Looking great with your mask out there. It's awesome to see.
So we had the survey results that we discussed yesterday from the Chamber of Commerce. So what happened was we had about 622 responses,
Yes.
and as of April 23rd, and what the questions were was how has this impacted your business? And they had to rank it from very much so to kinda to not so much. And guess what?
Yeah, so we do have some of those results, and as we said, the City of Sault Ste. Marie and Algoma Investment Corporation have collected this, and Again, 622 recipients. They did say, though, not everyone answered every single question, but what came out of the survey is that 37% ranked that because of COVID-19, it's actually going to be putting them out of business completely. 44% ranked that, you know what, there's significant impacts, but more financially. And then on top of that, between February 1st and April 20th, they were asked to, like, how many employees have you lost? And the respondents back for that, 40% of the workforce have actually lost their employees or had to lay them off.
Yeah,
that's
awful
a huge
and
impact for the city.
And what we're going to talk about at the round table is just how the COVID-19 pandemic has affected many industries in Canada, but we're going to focus in on Ontario. And also, if you want to see the results of that survey, go to saultmarie.ca/COVID-19 businesses. Right.
And they'll be doing these monthly, actually, just to continuously to see the impact of it.
Yeah, well, hopefully we can have some of our workforce back by the end of June, and maybe sooner. That would be great. So let's flip over to round table. CFL, food, airports, automotive, all these industries are you know, the CFL has been a bit of a pickle in the past, let's just say. I was just sharing that when the Grey Cup was held in Hamilton a few years ago, which is called Tim Hortons Field. Tim Hortons had to bail them out to cover the salaries for that Grey Cup. So, but again, they are looking for some bailout money because, you know, this has hit them hard. I'm going to throw this over to Chris. What's your take on the deficit that we heard about today that we're expecting?
Yes, the Parliamentary Budget Office, which is the people that tell us what are our deficits going to be, all of those sorts of financial information, and they have looked at what is going on right now and how COVID-19 has impacted our economy. It looks like our economy is going to shrink this year by around 12%, which is massive. And the deficit, combined with all the different spending programs and also sort of like, for example, no interest on outstanding taxes and delays in collecting taxes, it's going to be somewhere around $252 billion. Now, that sounds like a big number given the fact their deficit last year was only about $20 billion. So this is exponentially higher. However, at least if you look at it from and they did look at it from this perspective, given the interest rate, we're only going to spend $1.5 billion a year on interest to borrow $252 billion. So we're almost getting the money for free, so to speak.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually that money will have to be paid back, but at least we're able to borrow it at such a low interest rate. So it sounds like a really bad number, but it's not as bad as it could be if interest rates were at like 10%, and then we'd be spending $25 billion a year on interest. So.
Yeah. That's crazy. So even the airports are saying they are down 90% of their business that they had. And that is, to round that up into a number that makes sense to everybody, that's a $1.8 billion to $2.2 billion loss for airports right now.
And that's just Canada.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So good. That's very important to point out, Chris.
If you look at like O'Hare in the States, they're down 96% on traffic.
Oh, that's one of the largest, one of the biggest hubs.
In the world,
yeah, that's right. It's crazy. Ever been there? It's in that
numerous times.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow, I clearly don't travel anywhere.
Well, I mean, you actually literally have to take trams to get in. It's huge.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Also, we wanted to talk a little bit more about the automotive industry. Maybe we'll touch on that tomorrow because we do have to end the show today. But before we do, the hashtag in this together SSM initiative, we've had to divide it into a couple of sections because it's so busy. We do have one, and you did that. Why don't you do the honors today?
This interview is with Dan Ingram from the Bush Play Museum, Executive Director, and he's just kind of giving us a layout of the changes that they've had to make since COVID-19. So here's a little clip from the interview just explaining what they're doing. Is your online shopping, and how's that shifted since COVID-19? Can people still purchase your little gifts there?
Yes, we have an online shop through Shopify that we pretty much just sell clothing through there. But we've also signed up with the Algom Marketplace, and we've added a number of different items on there: clothing items, toys for children, stuffed animals, that kind of stuff, so that people can purchase the stuff that we have in our gift shop right now. It's we can deliver it Tuesdays and Fridays, free delivery here in Sault Ste. Marie, and we're just hoping that people will support us and help us get through this tough economic time for the Bush Play Museum.
Well, yeah, and as we say too, we're all
welcome back. That looks like a great interview, and that will be aired tonight on the 5 o'clock newscast as the last story of that newscast for today. We have had to separate them. Make sure you tune in to watch Chris at 7 o'clock. He always has some great, interesting tips for you and interviews. You've had some great ones. And we want you to visit Algoma Marketplace. Go to SueOnline.com, click on Algoma Marketplace on the right-hand side. Thank you, Casey Security. Have a great Thursday evening, and we'll see you Friday morning.
See you tomorrow.